Welcome back, everyone. In this module, we'll review a document we call the User Experience Brief. Every module leading up to this has been assembling this document that we're going to talk about. When we talk about user needs, product objectives, business goals, measures of success, comparative analysis, we're all leading towards a way to capture that research information into one place. And the User Experience Brief does just that. First, let's look at the definition. The User Experience Brief provides an overview of the project, what it's meant to do, who it's for, what is expected of it, and people's vision for it. Effectively, it galvanizes all of the opinions of stakeholders, consultants, designers into one place. It's a way to sum up all of the research impact that we've gathered from all of our different methods. And it allows the team to really unify on what the project's about and what it's for. It answers the questions who, when, what, where, why, and how. Not completely the how. It starts to answer the how because, again, we're still in the strategy plane. So we're coming up with the ideas and we're determining where we should go, not exactly how we should execute on it. The brief also needs to be short. It's a practical document scaled for the project, so shorter for a smaller project, longer for a longer project and larger project. But of course, it still should be brief, and that's why it's called a brief. So let's take a look at some of the components of a UX brief. First and foremost, our UX brief should include the concept or the description of the project. We want to know what it's about. We want to understand why you're involved and what contribution you're going to make to this project. Secondly, business goals. So when we think about goals versus objectives, goals are a little bit lofty, more long-term. Objectives are specific. And I think that's one of the things we need to make sure that we keep focus on. Business goals are larger to the strategy and look at longer-term objectives, whereas project objectives, or product objectives in this case, they are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, which means they're a little bit more shorter term. The next thing we want to include is user needs or target audience, some sort of experience around understanding who the people are that we're going after. Who is our anticipated audience? What are the demographics? What are the psychographics? What are their goals? Something that describes who they are. A UX brief wouldn't be complete without some summation of our competitive landscape. Understanding who your competitors are is extremely important. I'd also love to see a summation of brand in this type of brief, so whether the client has a brand guide or not, I would bring this into the document so that it's centrally located. Even if it's just a quick summary and a reference to a brand guide, this would be better than what I've seen previously. Any previous usability or research data is important as well. Something that would help us understand our user better or the product objectives would be ideal here. I also like to highlight challenges or what I like to call things to overcome. This allows us to really level set and become humble about our approach. We know that not all businesses are perfect and not all user intents are without limitation. So when we work towards understanding that there are challenges and there are going to be deficiencies, at least we become a little more human in understanding that the world doesn't work perfectly to plan. And last but not least, we need to set our objectives as far as measures of success are concerned. What is the definition of done? What does success mean to our clients and even our success relative to our stakeholders and our users? We typically concentrate on key performance indicators. in this case, KPIs as listed here. Not all KPIs are important across the board for every client, but all KPIs are metrics, are measures. Not all measures or metrics are KPIs because they don't always indicate success for every client. What's important is to ask the question, what are your most important measures of success? And hopefully that will help you in creating the best experience for your client and your users. Take into account. Now, our favorite client, the Shady Nook, does have a brief. And after discovering that I inherited this amazing website from previous owners of the Shady Nook, I decided to take it under the procedure of user-centric design and spend time discovering all of the things we needed to in the strategy plane. We took the time to do our research, evaluate the competitive landscape, and move forward in discovering what the D&K Shady Nook brand should be. And that resulted in a little bit of an overhaul of where we're going in this brand experience and the one that you'll find online today. But how did we get there? And that's the bigger question. What I'll do is walk you through the final UX brief for the Shady Nook Bed and Breakfast between these two brand experiences. I started the project with the Shady Nook owners, aka my mom and dad, by following a user-centric approach to discovering the best way to reinvigorate their brand and also change and adjust the interpretations of their digital channels. The Shady Nook UX brief is the result of that, and it's something that I will share with you on Blackboard. This experience brief incorporates all the elements we've been talking about throughout the course of this week and results in some of the things that we see right now. A product summary, business goals and website objectives, user information and personas, of course, if possible, competitive review, measures of success, and of course things to overcome, those challenges that we discussed in the lead up to this. And one of the parts of this engagement was actually to reinvigorate the brand and redesign the corporate logo and reciprocal elements of that brand. So this brief will contain a little bit more about brand than most. Now, just to start you on the right path, of course, we sometimes like to put a little pull quote for our clients, and I'll read that one out loud. The Shady Nook Bed and Breakfast offers a quiet, comfortable Stratford experience within minutes of local theaters and cafes, truly your home away from home. And that really defines the objectives of the brand itself, of the business. Having something like this really makes the project a lot easier to undertake because all activities should be focused on this objective. Create a quiet, comfortable Stratford experience within minutes of local theaters and creating a home away from home. Think about that and think about how that might resonate or translate into digital practices. We have our project summary, a summary of user needs, goals, and objectives of the project. In this project, we spent a little additional time talking about user personas. Here's a little bit of a summary of who we think our primary and secondary audience segments would be. Primary, of course, is that retired, traveling woman who makes the decisions around where they vacation. Most of the time they like to travel in groups, so this woman, Janet, here would be traveling with her husband and potentially another couple who love to experience the theater and the lifestyle around that. The secondary persona is someone who is a little bit higher in income, in middle age, enjoys culture, but is traveling from a closer distance, has less time to spend. And the idea here is that they would likely attract someone who is a short train ride or a drive away from the Stratford area and community. We include a little summary of competitive landscape, which is highlighting the specific URLs and properties that may be considered as competitors to our Shady Nook. And measures of success, things to overcome, highlighted here. What are we looking for? What are we targeting? What are our metrics? And what are our KPIs? And then things to overcome, what are the things that are limiting us? That is essentially, a guiding light for what can we build that potentially solves this problem. And we round this out, especially in this experience, with a little bit of information about the brand and why it exists. And I'll share this with you online so that you have that information to help you create your own brief, which is an assignment that you will have this week. Creating a UX mini brief where you will have to choose a product and a website or an app, and it could be something that you're working on or that you're interested in, but make sure it is something that is live and then I can reference for viability of your assignment. Or use a case study that I'll upload with this homework assignment and provide a short document that summarizes in detailed point form, at very least, user needs, product objectives, and business goals. You can submit it online and it's due next week at the end of class. And we'll see you next time right here. Thank you very much, everyone.